How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar, and welcome to Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions, where today we're going to be looking at the November solicitations of collected editions from Marvel Comics. And this is one of my favorite videos I do every month because it's not just me talking and hearing myself talk. It's my friends joining me talking about the things that we love, and that's collected editions. Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and let these wonderful folks introduce themselves. To my right, who's this guy?
It's Curtis, part of the Epic Marvel podcast. I say part, but it's just entirely pretty much me. I do all the editing and stuff. I have some special guests. Yeah, glad to be here. It's been a few months, I think. I wasn't able to make the last couple, but I am glad to be back. We have some cool things to talk about this month.
Yeah. Children got in the way, didn't they?
They're definitely part of it, yes.
Well, that's why I don't have them. I mean, it's just a mess.
God. And who's that outspoken gentleman about kids at the end?
Lars Pearson, Norwegian assassin, formerly of Wizard magazine, currently of Mad Norwegian Press. I mean, have we had the discussion about Omar's goatee? That, you know, in sci-fi, and maybe this has been mentioned already, but in sci-fi, goatees meant evil. But Omar was always very nice. Therefore, if you get rid of your goatee, I'm wondering, are we now dealing with evil Omar of the Terran Empire?
You know, I've been wondering that all week watching the new videos.
Let's just deal with the elephant in the room.
Am I evil Omni Dog? Because I also...
Well, good grief, man. We've known that.
Fair.
So, who is Omni Dog? Who are you, sir?
I am apparently always an evil Omni Dog from Omni Dog's Vault on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. And to his right is the return of one of my favorite people on this planet. Who's this guy named Crisis?
Oh, I'm so happy to be back with you, Omar, and all the minties out there. I'm Crisis with a K. I write typically on crushingcrisis.com, but I'm having a winter sabbatical, and Omar has woken me up before dawn today to join you just so I can hang out with Lars while he's still on the line. That's the whole reason I'm here, to get my Lars exposure.
God bless you.
So I hear we're also going to talk about some Marvel comics, which I may or may not have opinions about, since I have the most guides to them of every website on the planet.
I promise you, being this sexy and charismatic is a curse and a burden, but thank you for your appreciation of it. Yeah.
I love it. Oddfeld's taking a break this week, but she will be joining us next month to talk about these books. So yes, we're going to be talking about the November solicits. Before I do, everybody caught up on all these announcements, I assume. I usually text Jess because he refuses to watch my videos. He just wants to know exactly, like he downvotes them if he watches them, he says. So I just, from now on,
I don't watch any of your videos.
Why would I do it? So yeah,
Freddie is the one that texts me all the announcements.
I'm gonna kill Freddie. I'm gonna ban Freddie and you, both of you are done. So the big one that I thought was really cool to finally get off my chest was the Punisher Max reprint, which, you know, everybody voted for, or not everybody, I assume most people voted for to get reprinted, and now it's coming back to print. And the reason I wanted to get it off my chest for so long is, for months, some of my viewers that, you know, stumble across the internet have gotten wind of perhaps some other channels or websites that have told their viewers that Marvel and Disney has done with Frank Castle, the Punisher, they're never going to get reprinted. They want to get away from that era. They want to get away from the Skull and the Punisher and Frank Castle. We're never going to see any of these books reprinted.
I apologize. That's what
it was you. I knew it. But dude, like, I had to keep quiet because I was like, okay, maybe. I think that's the way I answered. I'm like, maybe, you know, maybe one day we'll get them reprinted. But now that it's out there, you know, it's just finally I can just say, yes, not true. Please stop listening to people.
Well, the Punisher poses certain challenges in the world in which we live, but the idea that they were never going to publish any more Punisher ever was just completely ridiculous.
When you have certain creators on that title that, you know, alone on name sell books, it wasn't going to happen. So I'm just glad that I finally was able to let people know that just because the people have a platform doesn't mean they're right about things.
No.
Except on this platform, right?
Well, exactly. Yeah. 'Cause
Well,
we're correcting everything.
I tried, but I've been wrong so many times, and
Well, I thought Curtis
everybody
was
gets
talking
3
about
chances.
himself.
Everybody gets 3 chances, though. Curtis knows about that. He's
I was going to say, how many chances are we up to on Curtis today? Just to start.
87. 87 in this broadcast
Yeah.
alone.
And I love that you were all so forgiving. It's wonderful.
now it's what we do in America. We you know we let it go, man. We don't hold any grudges.
No.
So yeah, big thank you to David Gabriel and Marvel for giving us advance like viewage of this solicit. So this will be available everywhere middle of the month. So sometime in August, you'll see not just the collected editions, but also the single issues that are going to be solicited for this particular month. And as always, I like to stress that just because it's solicited in November usually means it'll be October, November, December, sometimes January of 2024, sometimes February.
We do have
March.
some Januaries in this one.
Yeah, we got March, we got April 2024, and some books have moved. So, what is this? Hold on a second. Omar, have you seen the new Guts figure? Oh, yes. I actually was in Japan, and I saw the figure, and I saw Griffith's source. They had taken Griffith with them to America because San Diego Comic-Con was the following, I think it was like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, I flew all the way to Japan to see these figures of Griffith and Guts, and they took Griffith with him. But I got to see his horse. I think he's humongous. So, yes, I'm very excited about those.
Thanks for that figure you got me in Japan, too. Oh, wait.
You're
You didn't
very
get it for
welcome.
me.
No, I asked you, and you were like, I already got that. You were like, I went back to the store to get you a Harley Quinn figure, and you were like, hey, man, I already have that figure. I'm sorry.
It was a different one that you went back for.
Whatever, dude. All right, let's go ahead and start. And please don't forget to smash that like button. And let me know if you need it bigger. What do you guys think? Is that good enough? Bigger?
Jesus, man. Do you hear yourself?
There we go. Omar, tell Lars I love him. That's really weird, but okay, Lars, you have a fan. Is this your Lars? Is this your?
Omar, I think you're supposed to say, Lars, I love you.
Right? Yes.
Not happening.
I already. We'll keep that for private. It's okay.
All right.
It's the whole thing.
Well,
I tell you.
I am deeply touched and moved. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's your secondary account. This is what Jess does. Like anybody you see with Omnidog, Team Omnidog in the chat, not real. It's all Jess.
Oh,
And all the people talking about my hair are just sock puppet accounts that I set up.
I actually don't. I don't have any viewers. It's just you 5 with multiple accounts. Right. So
it's hard to type on the keys with
There's one
socks.
person in the chat like, I'm real, it's me.
All right, Captain America Omnibus Volume 4. Kirby, the man who sold the United States cover, and that's the standard edition cover. And then you have the Kirby direct market cover, collecting Captain America 193 to 214, annuals 3 and 4, and the Marvel Treasury Edition special Captain America's Bicentennial Battles and material from Foom number 11. So the big thing about this is that this was previously released as Captain America by Jack Kirby. Then that book was reprinted with the addition of Foom 11 and the letter pages and the newly restored art. And now they're reprinting it as Captain America Omnibus Volume 4. So if you have that book, the second printing, it's exactly the same thing as this book. The second printing came out, I think, in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And some people were like, oh, man, they should have added, 3 or 4 comics in there. Anytime somebody brings that up, I'm like, yeah, but can you imagine how upset people would be if they did that and they had the Captain America?
It gets funky when you mess with the map. It's one thing when they smush all 2 things together, like AVX and ABX Companion, but when you just take one and you slide an issue in there, that's when the fans start to get ornery.
Yeah, it gets a little, that's a little much. So I'm glad they kind of left it alone. I get it, I get both sides of the argument. They should have added more, but also leaving it alone means people can just keep their book and hope for a volume 5 after this. And hold on a second, Jeff. Just had to bring it up. Couldn't go a stream without bringing this monstrosity up. Thank you for the super chat, though, Jeff. Omar, be happy. Ryan Reynolds is bringing Alf back. That is a message for. Look at Curtis's smile. He's
hero of our time right here, Ryan Reynolds. Good job.
Yeah, thank you for that. This is from John. Thank you for the super chat. Jess, it's so nice you let Omar run this channel.
Yeah. True.
He gives me
True.
permission.
$5.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Gives me permission. So I
You're
appreciate
welcome,
that.
Omar.
656. You didn't have to do that.
Omar's the puppet emperor. Yeah.
656 pages, $100. I want to say that's how much the second printing was too. Spider-Man Volume 2. This is $2.99.
God Almighty.
Unfortunately has been moved to April of 2024, but not canceled, still coming. Collecting Spider-Man 2099 1 through 12, Spider-Man 2099, the 2015 follow-up series 1 through 25, Captain Marvel 27 through 30, Superior Spider-Man 17 through 19, Secret Wars 1 through 5, or Secret Wars 2099 rather, and the material from the 2099 Unlimited series. If you have Volume 1, this is more Peter David, but it's also got the crossover things in here. Dan Slott, Rick Leonardi does come back, which is always a pleasure to see. And even though it's been years, it's like he picks it up like it's like riding a bike for Peter David.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't have to have read the first volume. I mean, I remember, I mean, I have the first volume, but it was literally since the 90s since I read it. And I loved this series. I thought it was great. Also, I feel like really one of the big star making turns for Will Sliney, who's like a multimedia star with his own TV show in the UK right now. And I just remember loving his art like month in and month out. It's just a fun run. If you like Spider stuff and you like Peter David, it's going to be a hit for you. And you don't need the first one. If like 90s stuff turns you off, but you like 2010 stuff, you could just read this on its own.
So this is the paperbacks that are like from 2015, Peter David?
Yeah, it's now.
Okay.
Marvel Now. Yeah.
Does this tap out Peter David on how long he went on the title?
He wrote both series, the 2014 and 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. Hopefully this has all of it. I haven't really checked.
Yeah, it ends kind of definitively. I actually just did a guide for 2099 pretty recently, and it's like it ends. There's an end.
Okay.
But the character does come back later on too. We do see him in the pages. Well, this does include the pages
they've kind of they can't really decide what 2099 is anymore. Every time it comes back, it kind of flutters by and then gets rebooted.
And then there was during the Nick Spencer run to the 2099 miniseries that came out. Volume 1 is out of print for people that are talking about it right now.
It is. Okay.
It is out of print as of this video. I assume it's going to have a restock. It was just holy crap. Like pre-orders were great for that book, and the fact that it's gone, that's just amazing. Yeah. No pun intended. That I don't know. You know, it was $150 book. So I'm just surprised it's gone.
Do you feel like maybe the movie helped sell this out along with the first Spider-Gwen Omni?
I will say that people in the community, we make fun like, why do we need to have an Avengers movie to have an Avengers Omnibus come out? Why can't they just release Avengers Omnis like they do from time to time, right? There is such a thing as that, corporate synergy that for some reason it may not affect the regular Joe that just went out and saw the Spider-Verse Across the Spider-Verse movie and was like, hey, I feel like spending $150 on a book. But definitely for the people at all interested in the character that already get comics, it does a lot for that. So
yeah, people sneeze at that effect. But I mean, even if you take away the general movie audience and you just talk about the comic book geeks who are at the movie and it reminds them that there was a run for this character, I mean, it does not take a lot of extra copies of this omnibus to be shifted in the scope of all the people who saw the movie to make the difference between a sellout or not. Yeah, and I think comic fans like to think we're such an exclusive club, but a few thousand extra units ordered because the character kicked butt in the movie makes a big difference in our world.
It may also have had nothing to do with the movie. I mean, the thing is, the original Spider-Man 2099 run by Peter David came out when we were at a young, tender age, and for a lot of us, it just kind of scorched itself into our brains with the jokes, the characters, everything. It was kind of a landmark run for the decade. Yeah. Now, this stuff, you also say, this stuff is also really, really good as well. I mean, we got so familiar with the first run. I thought the second one was really enjoyable, too. So, yeah, you could pick this up, but they'll reprint Volume 1, surely.
Well, I'm sure they don't have to reprint it. It will just probably be a restock. So that's it.
Right. Okay.
If the amount of Miguel fan art there is now is any indication, it had a major impact. Yeah, there's a lot of that thick daddy fan art out there that I stumbled across because one of my friends that she doesn't even read comics, she's like, does Marvel really have a character like this? And I was like, not exactly like that, but Spider-Man 2090.
My daughter texted me and asked who the hot guy was. She in her Twitter feed, Miguel O'Hara, and did I have a picture of him? I said, well, I have a picture of him, but I don't know that this is what you're expecting. And she said, this is who everybody's talking about. He's a comic book figure that doesn't even have his mask off. I said, I can't explain Twitter to you. I barely can text you.
By the way, some of which is very strange because the original Peter David run, Miguel is not at all like he is in the movie. I mean, it's just, if you want like, oh, I want to read more on that character. Well, it's a sharp deviation, but here you can do that. There was a lot of people that I went with who were utterly convinced he was a vampire, and I was like, this is why he's got the fangs.
Yeah. I think that they'll probably explain that in the second movie.
Probably, yeah.
People want that caked Spider-Man the same way we want Mexican Gwen Stacy. Yes. That's so true. Yes. Hashtag Mexican Gwen Stacy. Peter is gone. All right. Daredevil Omnibus Volume 3. There's a big significance with this one. So collecting Daredevil 75 through 19, Avengers 111, and then material from Amazing Adventures 1 through 8. This is big because for people that have been collecting Omnis for a long time, Daredevil Silver Age Volume 1 was a book that just kind of sat on the shelf for a long time, liquidated and still not moved. And, you know, it was like Marvel kind of testing the waters to see if there's still interest in these Silver Age books when they announced the Volume 2. They saw the interest in like Spider-Man and X-Men, but that's a little different, right? It's X-Men and Spider-Man. That stuff always sells. But then they did Thor because people voted for that. And then they gave us a Daredevil Omnibus 2. And it made me really happy that, you know, they have enough faith in it that they went ahead and did a Volume 3 for the big anniversary next year. Or is it the movie? Anniversary? TV show. That's right.
It's going to be a TV show, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I would argue that I think this is when Daredevil gets great. That, like, I would just buy this omnibus. This is like the Black Widow stuff, the San Francisco stuff.
Well, I hate to be that guy. I hate to be that guy.
That's not true. You love being that guy.
Oh, I don't. I don't like speaking negative about books. You know, I like to be neutral. But since, you know, this isn't an overview, I wasn't a fan of this era. I'm not a fan of Daredevil until we get to Frank Miller. Gosh, I sound like a stereotypical.
Well,
most people will say, right?
Neither am I.
Actually,
neither am I.
Go ahead. What's that?
No, nothing. I was just
No, I think it was Curtis. Curtis was saying something. Go ahead, Curtis.
Sorry, I have it on mute because there's a leaf blower outside my window.
Again?
It's going really loud. It happens on Thursdays, man. It happens on Thursdays. I will point out that they've included the Amazing Adventures numbers 1 through 8. This is most likely the Black Widow stories, not the Inhuman stories.
Right.
And these are go figure.
Be a little odd.
They're not in the epic collections. They're just in the Omnis here. But you can find that, of course, in the Black Widow epics. They're just not in the Daredevil ones. And some people were asking, well, why are they in here? The story of some of these, the supporting cast gets wrapped up in, I think, the last issue that, or the first issue that Black Widow appears in Daredevil.
And she ends up sharing the title with him too. Jess, did you like this era? I wanted your take.
I kind of agreed that this is when it really picked up. But I also agreed that it got crazy exciting when Frank Miller took over. So this would be the era that I really, really started digging Daredevil. And then, but I also agreed that the Frank Miller run is what has kept me glommed onto it ever since. But I did like this era a lot. There's a lot of great writers with a lot of good artists in this era. And I love the Black Widow stuff.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I love Gene Colan. I think, Steve Gerber's writing was solid. It's just, I don't know. I never really, even the epic stuff that I read, never really did it for me. But not until we get to when Miller starts writing it, right? And then Klaus Janson starts inking his stuff. That's a stereotypical bait. Yes, that's a normie take. Yes, I'm very basic right now when it comes to Daredevil. I'm so sorry.
Well,
but you know what? Ain't nobody gonna tell you.
Season, Omar. It's time to get basic.
Nobody's gonna tell you Fall from Grace is one of the best Daredevil stories ever, but I will, because I love that story. I don't care what anybody else says.
Look, my pitch for this is really similar to Jess's pitch, which he just felt distinct finally. I feel like the first 80th issues, he's that other superhero in New York in a red costume, it doesn't, there's good art in there, but it just doesn't, I don't ever really I'm going to go back to Daredevil, 40, whatever. But that run, there are issues that I will actually go back to. So that's my personal pitch for that book.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Sure. He agreed with me on that.
I don't know about that.
I
think you agreed with Peter. Let's just say that.
I agreed with both of you.
Okay. Wow. So neutral. Daredevil.
What if the four of us just unionize, Omar? What then?
Yeah, no, that's trouble. I don't trust Curtis.
Double our pay.
Daredevil by Ed Brubaker and Michael Lark. Omnibus Volume 2 coming back to print. This is collecting the rest of Ed Brubaker's run, 109 to 119 and 500, as well as the annual number 1 and Blood of Tarantula. The really cool thing about this run, and I'm not going to go into spoilers, but Ed Brubaker did the same thing that Brian Michael Bendis did when Brian Michael Bendis left the run. He left Daredevil with a new status quo. So the new writer has he's put in this corner oh my gosh, what am I going to do with these stories? And apparently Zdarsky told me that this is something that the new writers always demand, hey, leave Daredevil in this state of whatever it's going to be, right? Give him his eyesight back. By the way, that hasn't happened or something like that. But maybe, knock on wood, I don't know, it might. But, and I think that's really cool. Because a good writer can just take this character and do his own thing with it. So yes, after this is Andy Diggle's run, but that's what he did. He left him in a new status quo. $75, 472 pages. Go ahead, Peter.
That's so much more powerful than the book that always resets to normal status quo. Do something crazy, make him lose his faith, make him be funny, make him get married, make him go to hell. So much better than just characters that kind of get reset to the norm all the time. That's why Daredevil has this amazing momentum, and we can say such great things about pretty much every run at this point for the past 25 years, is because they get somewhere interesting to start. They don't have to start from the starting block every single time. And you really can't go wrong. Even Shadowland, which gets some hate, the Andy Diggle run, I like that run just fine. I don't think there are truly any bad Daredevil main book runs since Kevin Smith.
No, you're right. I think he's had a stellar run. I mean, I guess I could loop David Mack in there with Brian Michael Bendis and Bob Gale's run in there with that era. But you're right. Daredevil gave us a UK band, Teardrop Explodes.
I have their albums. Also Julian Cope's solo albums. Thank you.
Look at them on vinyl?
Yeah, I kept those.
Do you have a portable vinyl player that you can play in your car when you and your lady take a drive on a Sunday afternoon?
They did have a model. I'm dating myself. They had a model in the late 50s that had a turntable that came out of the glove box that you could play records.
I'd love to see you on a Sunday afternoon just driving around town.
Playing vinyl in my car.
Now that's old school.
You are very talented. Yeah.
Teardrop Explodes is such a great band.
So we have a direct market cover this time around by Joe Quesada. It's actually a solid cover. I dig that one.
Yeah, I love it.
Ghost Rider by Jason Aaron.
Yeah.
Coming back to print.
Everything comes back eventually.
Well,
this has not had, it's never had a reprint. This has only been, oh my gosh, I think 11 or 12 years when the first
a long
one came
time.
out.
Yeah.
Collecting Ghost Rider 20 through 35 and then Heavens on Fire 1 through 6. Go ahead.
Well, I don't. Yeah, so I don't care about Ghost Rider at all. But I've read this, and it's really good. And it just shows, like, there's certain characters, like, I can't read everything. I have to be kind of picky. But if a writer comes on that I really like, I'll try it out. And Jason Aaron's like, okay, I'll try this. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
The one thing I remember from this run was the word bubbles that they gave the angels.
Yes.
Were the same word bubbles that they used for Deadpool. And I thought, oh, I guess Deadpool sounds like an angel in the Marvel universe because it's the exact same word bubbles that they use for Deadpool. But this time around, we have a Greg Land DM cover, and then, of course, the classic Silvestri one.
Yeah. These are both cool.
I hope this does well, so we see more Ghost Rider in omnibus format.
Yeah, isn't this basically the only omnibus for Ghost Rider at all?
Yeah, without counting Cosmic Ghost Rider. That is the only omnibus that Ghost Rider's ever had. I'm sure we're going to get a classic Ghost Rider. We've got, 6 Marvel Masterworks so far?
Probably when the Masterworks are done, they'll think about it, yeah.
And I'm sure one day we'll get a Danny Ketch one. I think every year I sneak that into an email that David and I have. He's like, what was it last year? Maybe it was this year. He was like, wait a minute. This wasn't in there. You snuck that in there. And I'm like, yes, I did. I do it every year.
put it in your signature line. Yeah.
It's one of our email chains that we have whenever I can't remember, like he's asking like 3 most wanted, what I think. And then I always sneak in Ghost Rider Danny Ketch era. And he caught it this year. He's like, that we didn't talk about this on the phone. And I was like, no, we didn't. But I figured you may want to know.
Well, it might actually sell pretty good. It's not been collected, really, has it?
It's had 2 classics. I think 2 classics, right, Curtis?
We'll finally hit an Epics, right, Curtis?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Did you have an Epic? Yeah.
Leaf Blower Curtis. Wolverine Omnibus Volume 5.
Wow, good grief.
Golly. Well, okay. Oh my gosh, the guy's 50 years old, though. In 2024, we'll be celebrating Wolverine's 50th anniversary.
Oh, dear.
That's crazy.
He doesn't look a day over 100.
That's true.
Nice. Well, we don't really know how old he is. Well, maybe Daniel Way does. Wolverine 76 to 101, Annual 95. Marvel Comics presents 150 to 151. Cable 16, Wolverine Evolution, Nick Fury, Scorpio Rising, wrapping up that trilogy. The match, or I guess the re-team up of Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Punisher, The Dark Designs, Night of Terra, the follow-up to Reign of Terra, and Wolverine Gambit Victims 1 through 4, Uncanny X-Men 332, Logan Path of the Warlord, and then material for Marvel Comics presents 152 to 155. 1,296 pages.
Whoa.
It's a big one.
$150. 50 years. So 3 covers. You have the Adam Kubert cover from issue 100 there. You have the Ian Churchill cover, and then the Tim Sill covers from the Wolverine Gambit Victims.
Which one you going, Omar? I can't decide.
Adam Kubert. I was never a big fan of Ian Churchill's art. And honestly, as much as I love Loeb and Sill, the Wolverine Gambit mini just didn't really do anything for me. Yeah. It wasn't until we got to, the color like Spider-Man Blue that I was like, oh, these guys work really well together. Yeah. Maybe they'll rename this one like Wolverine Gambit Gold and give us a gallery edition of it. I don't know. One day.
Marvel's doing more and more variant covers for their omnibuses. Do we think that's because they're trying to get completists to buy all of them, or just
usually? Well, I mean, they've always had a direct market.
They have. You're right, but now they're doing like 2 or 3.
Did Wolverine 4 get 3? I can't remember. Did I?
I don't remember.
Are you saying there are actually people that will buy all 3 of these because they're different covers?
I'm saying I don't know. I don't know, and I wonder why they're doing so many covers. Or maybe, it's because it's cool, which is fine.
Okay, yeah. I just didn't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know some of my viewers have they only get Thor, right? Like Thor is their main, so they have like all 3 of the Jason Aaron covers for Thor, and they have they show me pictures of their rooms. That's really cool, and they're gonna get both of the Walter Simonson covers. So if you only have one character, and there's not a lot of big books of available for that character, then yeah, probably.
I don't know. Maybe if Wolverine's your guy, you'd buy all of them. I'm just asking the question because I honestly don't know. I've just noticed that they're going up. Yeah.
I mean, here's my alternate proposal. In a run with no truly iconic single cover, you throw a bunch of them out there. Like even the issue 100 cover is not like everybody has seen that kind of image. So you throw some stuff out there.
There's some really good covers in this time though by the Kubert.
I know, like that white one, the white and red one. What is that, like 80 or something? With
oh yeah, but the one you're talking about, the Deadpool cover where Deadpool has his swords.
No, I'll find it.
Which one?
There's a Wolverine one right before Age of Apocalypse that's in this book. That's just like this beautiful 2-color printing, and it always has been one of my favorites. But I guess it's a little esoteric to be an.
You're talking about 95, the one that's painted.
Oh, but I know the Deadpool one you're talking about. Though.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like the one where he's just. I think it's from '77. We just popped out his red or his claws and they're bleeding. That was cool, and I think they changed it to Black Blood because covers.
Yeah, honestly, looking through this run, there are some like fire covers in this run. I don't know how we got these 3. It's like kind of a weird assortment.
100 makes sense. And then honestly, Tim Cell makes sense too. Churchill.
Good question for you, Omar.
Yes.
That Wolverine Omni that material's already been covered in the Epic collections, but there are some really terrible scans in this era. And so I'm wondering if the Omnis will they rescan the material to give a better presentation, or will they use these bad scans again?
I don't know. I haven't seen. I'm trying to think. Like for Excalibur, they used the same scans that they did for the Epics. I don't have Wolverine 4 yet.
Because Wolverine 4 will have some of that content as well.
Yeah,
there's just that period around
the computer coloring. Yeah, those scans are pretty bad.
Yeah.
For the record, Extravaganza in chat found the one I was talking about. It's Wolverine 82. I don't know how you pass that up as an omnibus cover. It's spectacular.
Wolverine 82?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. You said it's red?
It's Adam Kubert. It's a 2-color process. It's just red, white, and black, and it's just his. But I guess it's not like iconic enough because is it Wolverine or whatever?
Yeah,
but I just think
that might be the reason. That would look great underneath the dust jacket.
It's so cool.
But honestly, I don't know.
Alas, we're mostly just going to see the spine. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and then of course, like the spine choices that they may give us might be it won't match the cover. So you look at a cover from issue 100 and it might be a spine from like issue 82.
Could you not just save yourself a bunch of money by like getting illicit scans of the spines, printing those out, putting them on dummy books, and then it costs you almost nothing?
How do you know that's not what's
yeah.
Exactly.
Look at me paying to get them in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Honestly, underneath this dust jacket, I hope they use the Wolverine 90. I've always loved that one. That's the one like right before the Age of Apocalypse when he's like, about to pop the third claw.
Can I answer Raul's question at 137?
Raul?
Yeah, Raul.
Omar, do you know if will be a Once and Future Deluxe Volume 2?
It's been announced for August of next year.
Yeah, no official solicitations yet, though.
Just so you know, Raul, my name's spelled Jess, not Omar. If you want to know that kind of information,
I'm the one that told him.
I just told him.
I tell you, and you ain't gonna tell your viewers.
I didn't get that from you, you slacker.
Ultimate Marvel by Jonathan Hickman Omnibus. This collects Ultimate Thor 1-4, Ultimate Comics Hawkeye 1-4, Ultimate Comics Ultimates 1-12, and then material from Ultimate Fallout 2-6. $100, 560 pages. So this is Jonathan Hickman. It's really interesting that Sam Humphries did some stuff in here because doesn't he follow up with issue number 13 of Ultimates?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimate Comics Ultimates. I think it's Sam Humphries, right?
Yeah.
I Any news adding Hickman's shield to this? I asked. No news yet. No news yet.
This is a great book.
I'm just
People
glad
have wanted it forever. It's like the
finally
one
coming out.
oversized gap because
Yeah,
the
I'll be
original
getting
Shield collections were both oversized. So there's no. I think this is the only non-oversized Hickman Marvel material, right?
outside of his new stuff.
A-
Yeah, this is
Anybody,
everything. he wrote.
Bueller? Yeah.
Yeah, I will be upgrading my standard hardcovers for this.
Curtis, this guy met your brother.
Oh.
Yeah. My brother told me about this story. Apparently, he was buying X Factor Epic Collection, and then my brother sees him in line and says, "Hey, my brother's got a podcast about Epic Collections,"
That's
and he
awesome.
just goes, "Oh, is that Curtis?" It's like I don't get many of those kind of interactions very often, but that's pretty cool.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. Man.
Tasmanian Comics, by the way, in Burnaby, which is a suburb of Vancouver, is a fantastic comic book store. So if anyone is in that area, it's really, really great. Actually, they're technically in Vancouver. They're just on the border, not in Burnaby. But yeah, visit Tasmanian Comics, everybody.
Nice.
Yeah, that's me. I knew all about Curtis, superstar. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Curtis and Tom Cruise, they're pretty much on the same level. Yeah.
they're up there.
Minus the leaf blower.
And the
Right.
Scientology. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man Death of Spider-Man.
Okay.
Sorry if that spoils anything for you.
Spoilers.
There's nothing I can do with it. What it's called.
Someone dies.
So Ultimate Spider-Man 15, and then it shifts over to 150 to 160, and Ultimate Avengers versus New Ultimates 1 through 6, and Ultimate Fallout 1 through 6. The standard edition covers Joe Quesada, the same one we've always had, and then the new cover is by Mark Bagley. That's the direct market cover. So this is one that when I got the information about this book, I was seeing if they could change it to Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 5, and we kind of went back and forth on it for about a week, and they decided that this is an event, and Volume 5 will be mapped differently. So,
Interesting.
That makes some sense. Yeah.
So this
and
is explicitly not Volume 5.
this is not Volume 5, but I don't know what I guess it really depends on what the mapping of 4 will be to see if it lines up perfectly with this, and odds are probably not. Odds are Volume 5 will probably leave out Ultimate Avengers versus New Ultimates, considering Brian Michael Bendis didn't even write that. It might have
Probably
that.
leave out. They probably leave out a lot of the Ultimate Fallout chapters as well because they are not about Spider-Man.
There'll be probably Ultimate Fallout 5, right? And then a little bit of Avengers versus New Ultimates will be in there, but that's it. Yeah. So there will be some double dipping, but like I said, I don't know. I don't know the mapping for 4 nor 5, but that's just what they told me. And Predator, the original year's Omnibus Volume 2, moving into April of 2024, but coming out, collecting Predator, Hell and Hot Water, Primal, Nemesis, Hell Come a Walkin', Captive, Homeworld, Xenogenesis, the Predator comic from 2009, Predators 2010, Beating the Bullet, Preserve the Game, Hunters, Hunters 2, Hunters 3, and then material from Dark Horse Presents 124, 137, and the free comic book day 2009 Predator, 1,040 pages, 125. So you have 2 covers here. One is supplied by Inhuk Lee, that's the standard edition cover, and then Bob Eggleton is the direct market cover.
Oh, that cover's cool.
I like the first omnibus, so I'm hoping for more of the same. There was a little bit of a gap in between Predator comics from the first volume and this one, and I hope all that leads into a Predator Aliens omnibus. That would be awesome. And no word yet on Race War. I did ask though. I did ask about that. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania, the art of the movie. These are the art books. They're always in landscape size. Actually, I have a couple over here. They're not printed like your omnis, right? Like they're not like this, but they're in landscape format like this. So they're like this. Here, actually, let me highlight myself. They're done in this format right here.
Very nice. Yeah.
You guys, Ant-Man and Wasp fans? Anybody see the movie? You guys?
I haven't seen it yet. Please don't spoil it.
Well,
Don't tell
Ant-Man
me
and Wasp are in it.
Damn it!
Yes, it is an Ant-Man and Wasp movie.
Both of them are in it.
I enjoyed it. I don't seem to have loathed it like some people did.
I'm sure I'm gonna love it.
I thought it was perfectly watchable. It was an odd choice of how to approach it, certainly. But I
thought it was just such a departure from the previous two.
Well,
which I absolutely loved.
That's the
Yeah.
Like it or hate it, it's a massive departure. But I didn't feel my time was wasted.
I know Jess and I differ with superhero movie taste, and that's okay. I still love him.
I tend to love all movies.
You do, you do, but that's okay. Somebody's got to like X-Men: The Last Stand.
Oh,
I think that was like 6-7 years ago when Jess and I got into a big argument. I'm like, how can anyone like X-Men: Last Stand? What is wrong with you? And he was like, he defended himself really well. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see that. You're still wrong.
I love how when Dark Phoenix came out, people were like, "Is this the worst worst superhero movie ever?" I'm like, it's not even the worst X-Men movie. There's X-Men: The Last Stand. It's not even the worst movie featuring the Dark Phoenix saga. For God's sake,
Jess likes movies. Omar doesn't. It would seem like every movie review Jess and I ever did was like, "Oh my God, it was so good," and I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, "Well, I liked one scene. The lighting was nice."
I just remember growing up with nothing on like this, and we're just getting flooded with so many cool movies. I just tend to love them all.
Yeah,
I mean, the talkies are great, aren't they, Jess?
Oh, you bastard! You went to an age scout?
That wasn't even me. That wasn't even me. Well done, Peter.
Oh my God, my former friend. How dare
It was just
you?
too easy.
I was going to make a comment about Jess going for a cruise in his Model T Ford earlier, but I decided not to.
right.
Oh,
So I had to break the ice.
Jess grew up a poor, Oliver Twist style child. He would stand outside stores and go, "Please, can I have another X-Men movie?" And they would go, "No." And now he's to get one.
He just wanted to see another one down at the Nickelodeon. Or is it time to talk about some new comic books? Because I want to talk about some new comic books.
It's not even me. It's not even me today, Jess. See?
I know. It's everybody else. You're just standing there.
I'm just laughing. This is great.
Faster.
I'm gonna write some of this stuff down. It's good material. Clobbering Time by Steve Scrooge. I had no idea he was coming back to comics. Like, this is collecting Clobbering Time 1 through 5. I have been a fan of this guy since, oh my gosh, even before he started drawing X-Man. And yes, that's just one X-Man. But he left comics for a while because he was doing storyboards. Like, he did the storyboard for The Matrix. And
Matrix.
He's a phenomenal artist. I had no idea that he was working on. I'm surprised this is not straight gallery edition. And I know he comes back from comics. He did, what was it, with Brian K. Vaughan, We Stand on Guard.
And he also did Maestro's, one of my favorite, totally weird, totally profane Image comic books from the last decade. So messed up. I love it dearly.
Which one?
Maestro's. It's about a modern day wizard who holds the fate in the universe of his hands, but he just wants to get drunk and date hot ladies. And it's so messed up, and the art is so detailed. I feel like you can just get a magnifying glass and go in. And that's what I did with Clobbering Time earlier today. I didn't get a chance to read it all, but if you just like that kind of like art, it's kind of like Daniel Warren Johnson's art too, who I know is actually somebody who's come after Steve Scrooge in kind of the same model, but just like art that's almost profane because it's so detailed. There's so many crags, so many cracks, so many layers of detail that you just get like lost in a panel. That's what this is. And if you want to read a book of thing, just punch in weird sci-fi stuff with that level of detail, this is your book. Go get this book.
Are you the more profane the better sort of guy?
Not always, but Scrooge to me like really toes that line perfectly. It's never gross. It's just dingy, dirty but clean. Profane.
Dirty but clean. I love it. That's what I'm saying. Dude,
Just some light profaneness.
Okay.
I have
like
a
the
nice
Tina.
book.
that we would get a treasury edition of that book then.
Oh.
Because I got this, and oh my gosh, have you all read this? This is okay. This is a
Max is really excited about.
Trad Moore. Oh my gosh, it's insane. Like, I loved it. Every page is crazy. It's got his beautiful colors in there, and I think he's working with his wife, Heather? I think Heather. Let's see. Yes, Heather Moore. Yeah, dude, this book. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I was hoping that Clobbering Time would be something like this. This I think comes out next week if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's see
Well, also,
here.
it's like there's so many of these miniseries that just come and go, and I know Marvel's having a miniseries problem right now. All the retailers are talking about it on social media where nobody knows what to pick up or why to pick it up. But like when there's one by a creator that's that great, that has that kind of name, and he's really slept on. Like I'm just, sometimes we got to come out and show support for this stuff, so we get more cool stuff from creators who are never going to do like a 30-book run for Marvel. And Steve Scroach is that. So that's my pitch.
I'm now imagining Peter going to confession and going, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned," but not too much.
Not too much.
Just
40% sin.
40% sin at most.
Thank you for the super chat. I've been working on a 60-year Daredevil collection. I'm looking to get all these Omni reprints. I'll honestly buy them all, no matter what, except for Wade's run. That one straight up sucks.
Wow.
That
is a hot
he had us in the first half, and then
Okay,
60-year Daredevil
time out, but keep his money.
Hold on. Honestly, I've always said that Mark Waid's Daredevil was a lot different than what came before it, and honestly, what came afterwards,
which is by design.
Yes, he absolutely did something completely different with the character. He like taking him out of his own comfort zone and his place where he lived, and put him in nice sunny California. I can also see, how some people would see this as Spider-Man 3. Like Raimi and it was even Raimi doing it, right? Like Spider-Man 1 and 2 definitely had a story, it had a tone, but Spider-Man 3 just went the exact opposite way. It was still Raimi at the helm. But yeah, that I can kind of see that. I love it though. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, of it. I think Wade's Daredevil run might be my favorite thing that he's written. I think it's really that
largely
good.
wrong on that. It's not the best thing he's ever written.
Well, okay.
I'm just kidding. It's bad. Yeah. I'm glad you like it that much.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Consensus on Mark Waid's run?
Love it.
Love it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I love it.
I'm waiting for the modern era Epic collection.
You are dead. How have you done that? All right. Peter? Yes? No? Wade's
I love it. I mean, I honestly, I don't even care about Daredevil that much. Tim Burnham's going to hunt me down. But I don't even care about Daredevil that much. But I just love every Daredevil run. Soul, Wade, Zdarsky. Hit me, baby. One more time. More Daredevil.
But you know what? You're not the only one. You're not alone. There's I have a lot of viewers that also don't like it. That didn't like the change in tone. That thought, it was Daredevil after Miller. And it's also the same reason a lot of people don't like Ann Nocenti's run, from what I've seen.
Because it's a tone difference.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah. Marvel Masterworks, The Incredible Hulk Volume 1, the Remasterworks program. This should be the first 6 issues, if I'm not mistaken, of Hulk. 184 pages, $75. And
it's pretty thin for a Masterwork, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it's just
early
a reprint of the original ones. How many pages was it? 184. My goodness. Wow. That is one of the thin ones.
God.
Oh my gosh, I feel old.
Yep.
Okay. Uncanny X-Men 232 to 243. X-Men Annual number 12. X-Factor 37 through 39. Marvel Masterworks, The Uncanny X-Men Volume 16. Anybody that has ever wondered how the mapping is going to be for Uncanny X-Men after Volume 5, just look at the Marvel Masterworks. So Fall of the Mutants did not collect any issues of X-Factor, so don't expect the Omnibus Volume 6 to collect any issues of X-Factor. I think this should take us to 7. Maybe this might still be in 6. But this has to contain those issues of X-Factor, because it's like
it's a direct
crosses over.
And again, I'm one of those readers who prefers it this way. I mean, if I'm reading the main title and put in chapters like those X Factor issues that have to be there. That's perfectly fine. But otherwise, I don't want every Power Pack crossover. I don't want every, Daredevil crossover. I just want freaking X-Men and the chapters I have to understand it. And that's kind of it.
You boomer. Give me all the X titles in one book.
Ooh, I want this.
That's the way my brain was.
This is my most anticipated masterwork at the moment.
This wraps it up, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and that final issue, which I hope they don't literally.
Yeah, it didn't last long, did it?
Yeah, Death of Spider-Woman. Oh, sorry.
Gosh, just what is wrong with you? This story's took
Spoilers.
place over 40 years ago. Spider-Woman 39 through 50, Avengers 240 to 241, and the Saving Grace, Chris Claremont in annual number 10. Man.
Right, yeah, okay.
400 pages, $75. Hopefully we'll get an omnibus now that all 4 of the Masterworks are out. Be still my heart. Someone agrees. I own every Daredevil book published, but the way is in a long box in a cold, dark basement corner. I love it. I love a difference of opinion, man. That's great.
I do too. I think I'm just a little confused because, even if it's not your cup of tea, I don't see what's horribly objectionable about it. But to each their own.
Maybe it could be the art. Some people don't.
Might be the art.
Well, that could be.
Yeah,
could be.
I can see that. Jed McKay's Avengers. Peter, please tell me you've read his first.
No, this is the first. It's only 2 issues, and I just couldn't get there. I'm in the middle of reading Judgment Day. I'm too far away.
Okay. Avengers 1 through 6 and Timeless number. Timeless, really? Oh, he did write that.
Because Jed McKay was like the Timeless pilot for a couple of years there for the annual Timeless issue.
Oh, and that Timeless final page is solid. Avengers 1 through 6 and Timeless number 1. 184 pages, $24.99. I assume this is the Avengers team. I haven't read a single issue of this, by the way. But I'm a big fan of his Moon Knight and his Black Cat. I'm thinking we'll get an announcement about an Aaron Avengers Omnibus sometime before 2024. But wow, that's a lot of artists, though. Or is that just like
that's
maybe
probably from Timeless?
Yeah. Okay.
Max is in the chat saying issue 3 was good.
Okay, well, it's Max the Proof. Got it. And I'm trying, dude. I'm trying to get them to add that Daredevil mini in the Zdarsky Omni. No word yet. So, Storm. I forgot about this book. Blowback and Ascenti.
There's reasons.
Oh God, why would you say that?
So look, this is one of these throwback minis, which they just pump out. It fits explicitly right after Uncanny X-Men 176. So we're about 8 issues before Storm loses her powers. So this is like prime Mohawk era team leader Storm.
Okay.
Yeah, right after Cyclops and Maddie get married. So if you have hardcore nostalgia for that, and I do agree, it's an era where we could stand to insert some more X-Men stories, then go for it. But it's not notable. It's just for people who really love that era and always wish there was a little bit more Storm.
Huh. Because honestly, I really liked Extreme X-Men. I thought Extreme X-Men was solid. You laugh. You didn't dig it. I loved it. I thought it was good, man. Salvador Larroca teaming back up with Chris Claremont, that era, it just brought back a lot of memories. It was like when I was coming back to comics, there was a lot of changes going on through my life, and it was towards the end of the Extreme X-Men era. So this is read after, you said, like after the whole Fall from Grace, not Fall from Grace, From the Ashes storyline?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the first issue explicitly says that it's placed somewhere around 176.
Okay, cool. But does not get the seal of approval from Peter.
I mean, I'm saying it's if you're a Storm fan or if you love that From the Ashes era, then yes. But it's not like oh my gosh, I'm following Krakoa. It's not part of that, which this is.
Got you. Rogue and Gambit, Power Play. Stephanie Phillips. Ooh. I was a big fan of Kelly Thompson's run on Rogue and Gambit. I wish that had gotten some oversized hardcover treatment. So this takes place during the Krakoa era, huh?
Yes, and I didn't get through all this. I have really enjoyed a lot of Stephanie Phillips from DC. Have you been liking her at DC, OmniDog? Have you read some of her stuff over there?
I've read all her Harley Quinn, and it's been epic.
Yeah, I knew.
She's done such a good job with Harley Quinn the latest. I mean, I'm not. I know. Am I a stan for Harley Quinn or something in today's vernacular? I don't know. But she has Harley Quinn so introspective and doing such a deep dive self-analysis, and it's so interesting and so well written that I hope that it. I hope she writes Rogue and Gambit. I haven't read it. I hope I hope her talents transfer over to Marvel as well as she did at DC.
Okay. Seal of approval from Omni Dog.
Yeah, I really liked her stuff.
No,
I think she's really smart.
Death of Ultimate Spider-Man is the exact same issues. Same thing. Whoa, that's the Carnage book? No, this is Death of the Venomverse, written by Cullen Bunn, David Michelinie, and Taigami. Oh, who's also the artist on the book. So this collects the 5-issue miniseries. David Michelinie, really?
That's because they say they're collecting the Venom Lethal Protector throwback miniseries in here as well.
Brings you a classic tale in the vein of the Venom, but all it says is collecting Death of the Venomverse, right?
Who was the artist on that miniseries?
Ron Lim. Wasn't it Ron Lim that did Lethal Protector?
I know the new one, the new Lethal Protector.
It was just a one shot, wasn't it? The David Michelinie. Oh, you look that up, Curtis. Let me know.
I will.
All right, my man.
All right, here's one where I did my.
We're almost to the event, please. Fantastic Four by Ryan North, Volume 2, 4 stories about hope. Iban Coelho, and I just finished reading the first volume. Was it last week? And I really liked it. I thought it was good.
I've heard good things about this.
I don't know how anybody else feels about it. I really enjoyed what Ryan North did, but I also liked the beginning of Dan Slott's Fantastic Four run. So, yeah,
I think it's really on a pretty similar level to the Dan Slott run. I think it's very similar in tone to the Dan Slott run, and it's also got a little hint of North's kind of comedic stylings from Squirrel Girl, and the way he loves to incorporate like hard science. Like there's been some really cool hard science stuff in every issue where I had to look it up on Wikipedia and like see that it's real. It's always real if it's Ryan North. In issue 7, I think I spent over an hour reading it last week because he referenced this beautiful Rachmaninoff symphony that Dr. Doom is playing on piano. And so then I went and listened to the whole symphony as I was reading the comic book. Like North just is that guy. So to me, it's like a little more textured than the Slott run. It's very one-shotty. It's like at most, I think any story has been 2 issues, and the kids are not in it, but there's a good reason. So it's very focused on the 4 and Alicia
because it hates children.
It's very pick upable,
like Lars hates children.
Yeah, it just hates kids, right?
No, I love the Fantastic Four kids, but there's a good reason that they're not in it.
Okay, now yeah.
Okay.
Well, don't you agree, Omar? You read the first 6.
I read the first one. Yeah, it makes sense, and you're right about the way that he writes. It's definitely a different tone. Don't expect things like Squirrel Girl. I will say.
No. It's not.
Especially if you didn't dig the humor in Squirrel Girl, but I can see what you're saying about some of that humor kind of rolling in there.
And let me tell you, in issue 7, Doom has some opinions about where the kids are, especially Valyria, his goddaughter. He has some opinions.
All right. Oh, now I'm curious. Black Panther Volume 1, Reign at Dusk. This is a book I'm very excited about. Black Panther 1 through 5. I don't know if anybody has read it. The reason I'm excited is because Eve Ewing coming in and writing Ironheart. Because Ironheart was a character that I did not like. And I know, like, you know, the internet seems to be outspoken about that character. And I don't know that when Brian Michael Bendis created her, I wasn't a fan of that particular run. When they got her to come in, I remember Maddie wanted to do an old reader, new reader on the 2 trade paperbacks. And I was like, hey, sure. I didn't even finish the run that Brian Michael Bendis did, but I'll read it. And I didn't know anything about Eve Ewing. I know that she didn't do comics. I knew that she came from poetry. Is it poetry, I believe?
I think so.
But oh my gosh, that 8 issues, it could have gone longer. I loved it. Like, you throw in the New Warriors in a comic book, I'm sold, dude. Like,
Now
Like,
we know.
not even the tier A level New Warriors. I'm talking like Silhouette and Bandit, like characters nobody cared about. I was like, what the heck, man? But no, and she made Riri Williams a really interesting character. She wasn't one dimensional, and she wasn't a stereotype, which is the way that unfortunately Bendis's Ironheart was. But I dug this. I haven't read any of this. I don't know if it's any good, but I'm excited to read it. I like John Ridley's first book. The second one was well, it was okay.
Not a fan.
You're not a fan of Eve Ewing's?
No, I loved Eve Ewing's Ironheart. This book, I don't know.
No.
Give it a chance, but it's he's not superheroing. It's very much about the society happening in Wakanda right now and him kind of dancing around in the edges. So if you like Wakandan stuff, I think it's up your alley. If you're looking for Black Panther to like kick somebody in the face, I don't know if it's going to be your book.
Oh, I can always use Black Panther kicking someone in the face.
Especially if it's New Warriors.
You've never read a single page. Stop it. Stop it. Loki the Liar. Collecting all 4 issues. Dan Waters. Herman Peralta. All right, Curtis. Time to unmute yourself. Here you go, baby. This is you. There you go.
Gird your loins for battle.
Here we go, buddy. All right, Curtis. What's coming out in January 2024?
Cool. Epic Collection, Drowning Man, Volume 3. This we have Volume 4. It came out recently, and so this is kind of a gap filler. I'm not sure exactly why they did those out of order, except I think Volume 4 lined up with the end of an omnibus or something. Oh no, it lined up with the end of the Joe Kelly complete collections that never got completed. So they put out Volume 4 first, just to get that out of the way. Now they're going back to Volume 3, which is Deadpool 10 to 20, Deadpool Death Annual 98, Heroes for Hire 10 and 11, and Baby's first Deadpool book, and Amazing Spider-Man 47. This is the beginning of the period where Daredevil, where Deadpool was just everywhere.
Deadpool was everywhere. And this is like putting I think it's like 2 classics together. I know I'm excited.
And they're taking a few things from the companion book as well. Okay, Silver Surfer Epic Collection, Sunrise and Shadowfall. This is Volume 14. This is the final volume in the classic Silver Surfer Epic Collections, unless they decide to go further on. But this is the end of Silver Surfer's Volume 1 series. It collects Silver Surfer the half issue. Oh, sorry, not Volume 1. It technically is Volume 3, but it's the long one that went through the 80s and 90s. Silver Surfer 139 to 146, Silver Surfer Thor Annual 98, Galactus the Devourer 1 to 6, and Silver Surfer Loftier Than Mortals 1 and 2, which, if you haven't read that, it's that one's a lot of fun. This is my favorite part of this book is going to be the first part, which is the second half of the J.M. DeMatteis run, where Silver Surfer and Alicia Masters are going in outer space. They have this kind of weird relationship.
This stuff has never been collected, right? Outside of Silver Surfer Thor Annual 98.
Yep, this is new to collections.
Yeah, that Galactus has never been collected. And and I don't think any of these issues of Silver Surfer, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's right. I think this is pretty much a completely new, uncollected Epic Collection.
Yeah, I know the Silver Surfer Thor Annual. That's about the only thing, but that's awesome. Oh yeah, baby! Speaking of From the Ashes, look at that.
Speaking of stuff that's been collected a lot of times, yeah, this is the Brood Saga, Volume 9 in the Epic Collections for X-Men, with Uncanny 154 to 167, Annual 6, and Special Edition X-Men number 1. Classic stuff from Claremont, Cockrum, and Smith.
Yeah, this is actually the beginning of Paul Smith's comics. I think he just did that one issue, 167, and Dave Cockrum ends up leaving the book. You've got the Bill Sienkiewicz issue right here. Yes. with
And Lars, is that the front cover? Is this the one that you have on your wall?
It
The
is
poster.
not behind me at the moment, but yes, I do have a custom made poster of that. Yeah, this is great stuff. I've always been of the opinion that Cockrum's second run on X-Men is always a bit underrated because his pencils are just gorgeous. His pencils are just quite beyond what he did in his first run. And yes, as you say, this has been reprinted about 87 times. But
very recently as well, with there was a Starjammers trade that came out not too long ago that had most of these issues, I think.
Yeah. But these are some very key. There's been a lot of analysis. Again, when Dark Phoenix came out, there was this analysis of, well, should the X-Men be fighting aliens? And I'm like, well, the X-Men have fought Dracula. I mean, as long as you have a good story behind it, because those Dracula issues are really good.
I'm a big fan of that stuff too. And Kurt, Jess, have you read this stuff?
I haven't. No.
It's in the.
Oh, really?
It's been collected in the Omnibus, right? It's been collected in volume 3 of Uncanny. I didn't know if you had made it that far or not, but yeah, anybody that hasn't read it, you're in for a treat. There's a lot of good stuff in here.
Jess, how did you hit the 80s and you didn't read this stuff? Everybody read this stuff.
He was busy trying to decode his Legion of Superheroes ring.
Well, yes, that is important, certainly. But
it's a flight ring. It doesn't need decode.
Yeah, that's right. No,
whatever.
And I always say too that 160 to 166, that Brute Saga, that's where Claremont finally figured out how to write everybody on the team. Like if you read Wolverine from before 160, he's fun, he's likable. But 160 to 166 is where Wolverine becomes Wolverine. And I really think that's true for a lot of the team. There's a reason that this is one of those everybody should read it X-Men stories. It's not just because it's the first Brood story. It's just because of the way he really digs into the psyche of every team member in this run. To me, 167 is the start of this is the X-Men.
Yeah, this is when he gets deep in every character. It's like it was so hard to choose your favorites.
The Brood have always been an unbeatable design. Again, Dave Cockrum said in an interview that he just tried to imagine the most disgusting thing he could, and he rendered it. And yeah, I mean, they are truly vile, but that's why it works.
And definitely, live up to their sleazoid names, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Doctor Strange Epic Collection. Dormammu collecting. Oh, I'm sorry, Curtis. Go ahead.
Omar, come on.
My bad. My bad. On mute.
Now, this is volume 2. This is one that people have been asking for a long time because we've had volume 1, and volume 3 was the first Doctor Strange Epic that was released, and so this is one that people have been asking for. The Roy Thomas, Stanley Roy Thomas, Denny O'Neil era with Bill Everett, Marie Severin, Gene Colan, tons of great creators on this title. And Doctor Strange 169 to 179, Avengers 61, and material from Strange Tales 141 and 168, and of course not brand 13. This takes us up to when the series was canceled. And then there was a hiatus for Doctor Strange for a while.
Thank you for that. So this stuff has been available in omnibus format, but now it is coming out.
Masterworks.
And Masterworks, yeah.
And Masterworks, yeah.
I've always been very bummed to have an Epic line that has 1 and then a gap. That's really bleak.
They know how to get you. They know you'll come back for more because you're missing that gap filler.
Bleak. I mean, in an age of global warming and all sorts of things, but I've got gaps in my Epic collection.
Hey, we're allowed to complain about these first world problems, okay?
I know.
This is the place to complain. Believe me.
That's actually the new tagline for the channel. Let's not
place
to complain.
Things are bleak.
Venom, modern era. Oh, Curtis, what's this?
This is the Venom Modern Era Epic Collection, Volume 5, The Savage 6. Volume 4 comes out in August, and that's the first Venom Modern Era that they are releasing, and it's also the first half of the Flash Thompson era of Venom, and this is the second half to that. This is called the Savage Six, and let's see, it's Venom, the 2011 series, 17 to 35 plus 27.1, and the Minimum Carnage story, Alpha and Omega, and then a crossover with Scarlet Spider, 10 and 11.
And
I haven't read any of this, but I'm looking forward to it. People speak pretty highly of the Flash Thompson Venom. They like him a lot. And it's a different kind of it's a very different feel from Eddie Brock. He goes in a very different direction.
It's very bingeable. It's just you just like gobble it up.
Do you think, and anybody in here, do you think they'll collect the Garland era of Venom, like where it got to start, like the Marvel Knights stuff?
There was a Venom Marvel Knights?
No,
I
it was the
remember that.
Spider-Man Marvel Knights. It was like the
Spider-Man Marvel Knights.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this era. It was a lot different. It was a lot of fun. Remender and then eventually Cullen Bunn. And there is no omnibus of this era as of this video, right? As of this video, they very well could make an omnibus one day. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. Yeah, Jess, you like this era too, right? I know Venom's not your number one, but
oh yeah, no, I dug the Flash Thompson era. I read it a long time ago. Is this the second half? Does Volume 4 start the Rick Remender stuff?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, this leads into the Cullen Bunn stuff.
Okay, yeah, I did dig this. I liked them. I liked how different it was. And of course, I have an action figure of it, so that proves it. It's great.
That proves it. Secret Wars 2. Collecting all Secret Wars 2, 1 through 9. The question that I'm asked, because I think the modern Epic collections, and Curtis, I think you and I can do a separate episode on this, because this is where we get deep and heavy into these conversations. And oh my gosh, Peter, you would love this. But the question that I'm asked is Marvel ever going to collect any of the events in the Epic collections? Because they're not collected in omnibus format unless it's an event omnibus. That is a big question. And my answer has always been the same. I don't think so, just because Secret Wars stands on its own. Secret Wars 2, the same thing. But then modern epics kind of change a little bit, right? Because there are stories that are featured in events that do have ramifications in ongoing series. And I don't know. I mean, the mentality's always been an event will be Civil War, for example. And I don't really think Civil War is needed for Avengers Epic collections, right? New Avengers, I'm sorry. Because it's its own little thing. It's not like Mark Miller and Brian Michael Bendis were best friends calling each other like, hey, I'm doing this. That wasn't happening. Matter of fact, I don't really think outside of the main crux of the story that Bendis knew what exactly Miller was going to do.
But it's only as long as the writers who are writing these tie-ins appropriately reference why the characters are doing the things that they're doing. So I just read the first Loki Modern Era Epic Collection. And the first half of it, and I know I've never read it before, and I don't know anything about this era. And I was reading through these stories in the first half of this epic collection, and Loki is trying to save the world from a mysterious character called the Serpent, whom we never see through the entire story until like 2 pages at the very end. And he's like, everyone is scared of this serpent, and no one knows what the serpent is going to do or whatever. And like, he has to make all of these wheelings and dealings with Mephisto and Hela or whatever to do this. It's like a kind of a heist film or almost. But we never figure out, like, we never see the serpent or know why he's doing the things he's doing. And then I turn the page after that, and it's like this big splash page that says, Fear Itself Aftermath, and gives a recap, and like, oh, this is a Fear Itself tie-in, and I had zero idea. There was no clue that that's what was going on. And so then I went on Marvel Unlimited and read about Fear Itself, and the serpent isn't a big secret. He's clearly there, present through the entire thing. He's human. I didn't know that, or Asgardian. I didn't know that from from the Loki issues, and like they're throwing all of these hammers, and all the heroes are being taken over by these hammers and stuff, and like none of that's referenced in the Loki issues. And I'm like, this is a bad reading experience because there was no reference in here, no context that was giving me any clue that this was Fear itself, and I was very disappointed. After that, the Epic Collection gets much better, but that first part is like
I really this is the Journey into Mystery run to which you're referring.
Yeah, the Gillen stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So I really love that run, and I really enjoy it, and I own the omnibus. But you're right, you have to work unduly hard to fill in the gaps.
I will. I may be alone here. Curtis, have you tried the internet?
Well, here's the thing.
Let me Google that for you.
When you start reading a book, do you need to like do a lot of heavy research before? Usually, especially at the beginning of a creator run, you shouldn't need to do that.
I agree completely there. It's like you shouldn't be required to go off to the internet and look up all sorts of stuff.
Okay,
give us the information.
Isn't that comics though? Isn't that what we do in comics, especially modern comics? That events that lead Batman into, and I'm just using Batman as an example.
But, you know, if I had any inclination that this was an event, then I would have looked it up. But I didn't know. I thought it was just bad writing.
Yeah, Journey
in the Epic Collection, does it say, hey, check out Fear Itself Volume 1, or more of this story can be told in Fear Itself, or there's nothing of that. So I just thought that Kieran Gillen was making a villain called the Serpent that was supposed to be mysterious and ambiguous and not say anything about it.
It's Journey to Mystery is an odd book because it sort of acts like it's a mostly self-contained thing like Sandman, but it's kind of treated like the secondary title to Thor.
Yeah.
And that always has been a problem, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Okay, it's been a while, at least a couple of years since I read it, but I don't remember ever itching to read Matt Fraction's story while reading Gillen's Loki. Like Fear Itself, I get because of the Serpent storyline that played a big part in that. But I also there was a little bit of confusion, right? Because we go from dang it, that's a spoiler of Siege.
Right, yet another.
I can't talk about that because
you can spoil something that's 15.
No.
I mean, here's my explanation.
Does anybody want to let me know what a palooka is?
Yeah. He's got to be as old as I am for that one.
They call me a palooka.
A big palooka.
My buddy.
Thank you for the super chat. Felix.
Live from Australia, where it's even earlier than it is for me right now.
It's Australian. It means koala bear. Yeah.
Here's my thing, and I'm interested in what Curtis and Lars think about this. I think it actually correlates to kind of the death of the useful editorial box, because in the It's All Connected world, Marvel kind of just blithely assumes that maybe you read all the comics the week before and the week after, which is nice for a zombie like me. But then when you're separated from the context of what happened the week before, week after, because we're in trades, it's like the total absence of any editorializing actually starts to really harm some of these modern stories. Like it doesn't hurt anything to just have a box that says this started happening in Fear Itself. But I think that
would have solved everything.
Yeah.
One exactly. Little tiny box, tiny box that says check out Fear Itself #1 would have solved all of the problems.
Let me take that one more level before we move on to a book that's actually in the catalog. I think that they stopped doing it in part because when we got to the trade era, originally trade paperbacks actually had more contextual, like here's what you missed kind of story pages in them. And then they got cheap about the trade paperbacks and there stopped being actual editorial effort in them. But the practice of killing the editorial boxes was already done. And so now there's no comment at all anywhere to help you with anything.
That's a lot of it has to do with the fact that these, I hate to say this, but a lot of these modern writers that were taking over at the time had not read anything in the past, so they were just kind of making up stuff left and right. So the editorial boxes were like, yeah, sure, this character always had that power. It just didn't make any sense to use them at that time.
Some of that. The era to which you're referring, they just seem to have honestly convinced themselves that people were reading every Marvel book.
Yeah.
And there was no need to explain to you what was going on in Thor because, of course, you were reading Thor. But that is not a smart way of going about it. And even Kieran Gillen, as much as I absolutely adore his work, during that phase fell into that trap. I can't quite get over the fact that when he did X-Men #1, he's like, he just assumed that people have been reading X-Men. And there was no need to explain why they were off in San Francisco. There was no need to explain why the paradigm had shifted. He's like, we're just going to go. And people are like, what the hell's going on here? Because they're like, I'm going to try issue #1. But I don't know what's going on unless you tell me. But they just thought the only people reading Marvel comics were Marvel zombies, consuming everything. It's a terrible mistake.
That's funny though, because Gillen is like by far my favorite Marvel writer of the last 15 years. So it's funny.
He's superb. He's superb. But there was this point where he had to learn. He had to learn that like not everyone's reading every Marvel title.
Yeah. And I think his return on things like Immortal X-Men shows that like he's leveled up that skill.
Yeah.
All right, back to the books that are actually.
I want to keep going with this because this is a really good conversation. Jess, what's your take? Did you like Journey into Mystery?
I haven't read it, and
God bless
now
you.
I'm scared to listening to Curtis.
You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. Don't listen to
Make sure you read Fear itself. Just read Fear itself.
Well,
Which I enjoyed that story. I actually that 7-issue miniseries, whatever it is, I liked that story a lot.
and it helped you understand what everything was going on back in the Journey into Mystery stuff. It put it in.
Absolutely. Yeah. It turns out that the Loki stuff actually makes zero impact on Fear itself, but for some reason they had to spend 8 issues.
I love the opinions in the chat. We need a Secret Wars 2 omnibus reprint.
Ooh,
I wish Secret Wars 2 had stayed a secret. This is really interesting. Okay, Doctor Strange by Mark Waid, a book that's been out of print forever, now coming back with more issues in it, 1 through 11. I really enjoyed this run, but it's also a run that no one talks about. It leads into these
yeah.
I was reading it. I was really enjoying it. Didn't it end very prematurely?
I think it was canceled.
I think it was. Yeah, it's canceled. Is this all of Wade's issues?
No.
I would think there's more.
There should be about 3 collections, I think, because then it leads, like I said, into the Surgeon Supreme. This doesn't even have. I don't think this even has the Galactic story.
Yeah. No. Somehow it didn't really sell that great. It was canceled prematurely. It's a shame. I was enjoying it.
Okay, Bernie found out what happened. Journey into Mystery was great. Curtis's problem was he was reading the epic instead of the omnibus. That's fact. Boom. Shots fired, Curtis.
Okay, hold on. So Fear itself is included in the omnibus?
That's not what we're saying.
No, but it's possible that the expository pages are better. I haven't read in a while, but it might better explain what's going on.
I love that Jess is having a blast not knowing a damn thing about this story. He's just laughing at us because we're all arguing. I love it. Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood. These are so fun. This is the trade paperback edition, collecting all 4 issues of Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood. It's been released in Treasury edition. Who knows? Maybe one day it will be a omnibus.
Ooh.
Marvelverse, Spider-Man, and Madam Web. I can guarantee you the Sony movie version of Madam Web is not going to look like that. I can guarantee that. Amazing Spider-Man 210, 229 to 230. Uncle Raj and Dennis O'Neil. And Amazing Spider-Man 678 to 679. So just collecting stories, basically focusing on that character. That's going to be... I can't even keep up with Sony movies. Is it a Madam Web movie or is it a Spider?
It is. I can't believe that they thought Madam Web is going to be a selling point.
Unbelievable.
Dude, we had a Morbius.
Millions.
We had Morbius, so anything is possible.
They canceled the Black Widow movie, but they decided to keep on going with the Madam Web movie.
But like Morbius has some runs of some comics.
I think El Muerto got canceled though, so that might be some hope, maybe. Mighty Marvel Masterworks, The Black Panther Volume 2, Look Homeward Avenger. So this collects his origin stories from Avengers 77 to 79, 87, 112, 126, Daredevil 69, Astonishing Tales 6 and 7, Fantastic Four 119, and Marvel Team Up number 20. Most adorable question I ever got was from my, at the time, was 10-year-old daughter when we reviewed Black Panther Volume 1. She asked, why doesn't this collect any Black Panther comics? And I said,
out of the mouths of babes.
That was years later, baby. We still got to deal with all the Fantastic Four appearances. But yeah, this is still no Iron Man. Like we have Captain Marvel, we have Namor, we've got all these Mighty Marvel Masterworks. We don't have Iron Man or Hawkeye or Black Widow. But Iron Man, just one of the Golden Avenger, just waiting for that one. All right. If you live in Europe and you're interested in any of these books, pre-ordering them, check out waltzcomicshop.com. They're based out of Berlin, Germany. Flat shipping rates of €12 for all EU countries. All emails answered within 24 hours. And just use the code NEARMINTCON at checkout. You get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order of over €40 or more. Waltz Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ting, as my wife would say, except she would sing it. We're going to go back to the beginning and talk a little bit more about these books, and in case you missed it, and then, of course, ask my wonderful co-hosts what they're most excited about. Thank you so much, Matt. Hi, all. Some advice to read next. Catch up on singles, ongoing, dive into big binge, all of Sandman, Preacher, Why the Last Man, or assorted trade paperbacks. So, Matt, you still on the treadmill? This is when you do it? And reading all of Sandman and Preacher. Good journey, brother. Good journey.
Yeah.
You're in for a treat, man. That ting was hateful. That's only because I hate you, Josh. That was meant to, that was only for your ears. Everybody else heard.
Josh was awesome.
Josh was awesome, or is awesome?
Is awesome, yeah.
That's not what you say to me during text, man. Just be real.
I rarely text you, man. Don't lie.
Just texting me right now. I don't know what's going on. What day is this? We need gallery size Beta Ray Bill. Thank you so much. Yes, we do. That would be cool. That Daniel Warren Johnson artwork in that is awesome.
He is the greatest guy. I met him at Heroes Con. He is such a happy, wonderful, smiling guy. I am so happy.
You're talking about me?
Daniel Warren Johnson.
He would never say that about you.
You would never say that about me. Wow.
No,
okay.
I don't think there's enough super chat money in the world for that. But Daniel Warren Johnson is such a nice guy.
Well, I'm glad you had a good experience with him, man. Hi, Omar. I just wanted to send something your way. The Wolverine Omnibus means a lot to me, and I don't have the words necessary to thank you. So I'll give you something better. Oh, dude, thank you. No, it was.
What is he going to give you that's better? Oh, money. Okay.
Money.
Actually,
thank you for that. And yeah, it's my pleasure to get to announce those books. It's a lot, it means a lot to different people. Different eras definitely mean different things for people. Like for me, Wolverine 3 was my era of Wolverine. I love that book. That book is perfection. And whenever I make announcements, I'm sure I've shared this before, it's not like I'm thrilled about every book. There are books I've announced that mean absolutely nothing to me, but I know how much they mean to a lot of people just based on the likes and the views of some of these books that I've announced over the years. And so I try to harness that, right? Like what people get excited about, because I don't want to be like, here comes another ultimate damn Spider-Man book. I guess we're getting a volume 4. That's so I try to at least channel the energy that I see by people getting excited over these books. So you're welcome, man. Captain America Volume 4, Spider-Man 2099 Volume 2. We're just gonna run through these and then go in depth with what we're excited about. Daredevil Omnibus Volume 3 and the reprint of the Brubaker and Lark Omnibus Volume 2. Ghost Rider Jason Aaron, the only Ghost Rider Omnibus coming back to print. Wolverine Omnibus Volume 5. 3 different covers. So keep that in mind when you're pre-ordering. Ultimate Marvel by Jonathan Hickman Omnibus. 2 covers. And the reprint of Ultimate Comics Spider-Man Death of Spider-Man Omnibus. And Predator, the original Years Omnibus Volume 2, the art of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Clobbering Time. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to read that. Hulk, the Incredible Hulk Volume 1 Masterworks, and the Marvel Masterworks Uncanny X-Men Volume 16, as well as Spider-Woman Volume 4, wrapping up that era. Avengers by Jed MacKay Volume 1, and Storm Blowback, Rogue and Gambit Power Play, The Death of the Venom Verse, I doubt that. Fantastic Four by Ryan North, Volume 2, 4 stories about hope. Man, is Alex Ross drawing each of the covers?
Yes.
And he's still drawing them? Oh, that's awesome. How does he crank that stuff out? Black Panther Volume 1. And Loki. Maybe this might be an easier read for you, Curtis. Dan Waters, but you're going to have to wait at least 10 years for that.
Dan Waters is a challenging read in a good way.
Deadpool Epic Collection, Drowning Man, Volume 3, and the Silver Surfer Epic Collection, Sunrise and Shadow Fall. That's Volume 14. Curtis, we forgot to say this, but is that the final one from that era?
Final what? Sorry, for Silver Surfer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's the end of his 90s series.
Okay. We're hating on Bendis. I don't hate on Bendis. I'm very happy for Bendis. I mean, he is a wonderful human being, by the way, if you've ever met him at conventions. The guy is humbled and just wonderful to all his fans. Uncanny X-Men 154 to 167, X-Men Annual number 6, and Special Edition number 1. Very excited for that one. Doctor Strange Epic Collection Volume 2, a gap filler, as Curtis likes to call them. Venom, the Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 5, and Secret Wars 2. Boy, that opened up a can of worms in this chat. I don't even know what we were talking. Oh, yeah, Curtis went into this old Loki thing. Yeah.
You started it. You were talking about.
I did not know. I asked the question. You kicked the door open. I just barely opened the door. Doctor Strange by Mark Waid, Volume 1. Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood, trade paperback. And Spider-Verse, Spider-Man, Madam Web, and Black Panther, Mighty Marvel Masterworks, Volume 2. From top to bottom, and anybody in the chat, what's the one book you're most excited for and why from here? Either you haven't read it or it's a book you recommend to people.
Oh, does that start with me?
That's you, buddy. You're on top.
I'm having a hard time because actually the first half of this is actually really loaded with a lot of good stuff.
It is.
So I can't decide between Spidey 2099 and Spider-Woman Volume 4 Marvel Masterworks. I'll choose Spidey 2099.
Which cover, Jess?
That main one.
You like the main cover? That's the Simone Bianchi, right? And then that's an awesome cover. It's a good run. It's a good choice, man. It's a good choice. Seriously.
Thank you. I'm excited to read it.
Curtis, what Epic Collection? I assume.
The X-Men and the Doctor Strange Epic Collections for sure. And I'm also looking forward to the Venom Epic Collection. I think that'll be a good run. But
how come he gets 3 choices?
He's Canadian. Let him have 3 choices.
It's the conversion rate.
You don't want to make him angry.
Sorry.
Curtis gets mad, dude.
Okay. If I'm going to pick just one, I'm going to go with X-Men Epic Collection Volume 9. There you go.
That's a good choice. That is a good choice. It's the start of something wonderful.
Safe.
Felix, thank you for the super chat, brother. I missed Kirby's Cap Omni the first time, so I'm excited. I'm so glad you're getting it, man. I'm going to come back and look at everybody's answer. Lars, what about you, my friend? What's the book you're most excited for?
I mean, I kind of echo what Jess said about Spider-Man 2099. But since he already picked that one, I'll go for Ghost Rider by Jason Aaron. Because it's the only time in my life I've given a damn about Ghost Rider.
It's the only time in your life?
Yep. But because there's certain characters I can't follow them unless there's a certain writer on I appreciate. And I was like, okay, it's Jason Aaron. What? He's very good. So I know that Ghost Rider is a thing that exists. Clearly, I just don't have time to read the comics. But I was like, I'll read this, and I was like, it's very good. It's very, very good.
Really? Okay, that actually surprises me. So no matter who the incarnation of Ghost Rider is, whether it's the classic Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch or Robbie Reyes, none of them.
I don't have anything against Ghost Rider. I just don't have time to read everything.
That's fair enough.
So I vaguely recall the original series, some of it coming out. It was always this thing that vaguely existed on the newsstand where I would grab it, flip through it, and then put it back because I could only afford to buy 4 comics a month. And then the original series was canceled very readily, and there's not a lot of Ghost Rider published in the 80s. And by the time the 90s rolled around, I was, in college and busy with other things. So,
Are you a Nicolas Cage fan, Lars?
So I have this friend, and she has this habit of like, she gets ill with the flu and watches really bad movies because somehow she's like incapable of like, she doesn't have the energy to turn it off. And so I asked her, have you watched the Nick Cage Ghost Rider movie? She's like, yes, when I had the flu. Did you watch the Catwoman movie? Yes, when I had the flu.
Oh, whoa.
Did you watch the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie? Yes, when I had the flu. So I've not seen this, and I only watched in the delirium of being ill. Is not the best recommendation.
That's okay. All right. So Ghost Rider by Jason Aaron. Awesome. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Peter, what about you, buddy? What's the book you're most excited for?
Oh, easy call for me. It's Spider-Woman Marvel Masterworks Volume 4. It's the first time we're getting it in color, and the remastering, I know we don't always go in on the art, but even though there's a series of Journey Person artists in the series, just the level of the remastering, especially the color remastering in the volume so far has been brilliant, especially that costume, man. That costume really pops off the page, and I'm just so excited to finally have it all in color. I have the whole run in floppies. I have it in essentials in black and white. I never ever thought that we would have it fully in color in Masterworks.
Speaking of art, that is a beautiful cover.
Good choice.
Yeah, it's a good choice, man. I'll have to ask, do you go direct market or standard for?
No, man, I think it's ludicrous that they've been doing those direct market covers all this time for the ever dwindling amount of people that are still buying them. Like, come on. They should have just stopped at 300 and been like, okay, we did it. We made it. The end.
I think it makes you feel really high society snooty when you have the direct market Marvel Masterworks.
Well, it's in a frame.
Thank you for defending me.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jess as an example, but I didn't want to,
I totally
I
get
didn't want
that.
to fill that.
Here's what I'll say. If you're gonna get like just one line, like if you're like Spider-Woman's my one Masterworks line, I do think they're kind of cool then because it's not just like this uniform
They
silver.
look great on the show.
Almost bought them for Dazzler. Almost. I was because it was like a
blue
disco
one?
ball. Yeah.
I came really close to seeing if I could find the Tomb of Dracula one because they have that really like blood crimson red, like it looks so good. That's a good choice.
It's very snooty and very elitist. That's why I all the time bring friends into my comic book room and I go, look, I have the direct market covers.
Look how rich I am.
Would you like a mint julep? It's great fun.
For me, I'm gonna go with Wolverine 5. It reminds me of the last era of Wolvie I was buying before I left comics. I want to say 106, 105, 106 was my last one, the noseless era, as we like to call it. But this one was still fun. It was still Larry Hama writing a lot of fun stories about Wolverine, and then they did something to him in issue 75 where Larry Hama had to say, oh, well, how am I going to show that he's still a badass when these things are happening to him? It was the Return of Cyber, which for some reason I always liked. I didn't think people utilized enough, but then of course never mind. You can find out for yourself. And I think does this have a Joe Mad issue in there? The 332, was that him that did that? I remember the cover. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So some not every story is great. It's got the crossover with the Phalanx Covenant there and the Victims.
Ooh, that was rough. Yeah.
But I forgot to point out earlier that the Wolverine Gambit Victims miniseries is not in the Epic collections. So
what was that, Curtis? For people in the back?
Though the Omnibus has a one-up on the Epics here. Well, which the Wolverines always have, because the Wolverines are collecting all of the Marvel Comics Presents appearances as well. So, yeah.
Okay.
It's funny. I feel like Wolverine's one who could just sell, but they actually pack it with enough stuff that it's actually one of the coolest omnibus lines because it's got so much stuff integrated into it. It's got the OGNs, it's got Marvel Comics Presents. Yeah. It's very attractive.
Let me go through the chat here. Most excited for Spidey 2099, Ultimate Death of Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and Venom. Let's see here. Doctor Strange epic for him and Wolverine 5, Spidey 2099, Doctor Strange, Deadpool epically. We got some epic lovers. I love this, man. Just a different variety of people. They get different things. Doctor Strange, even some Marvel Masterworks, folks.
Yes.
2099, Wolverine 5, Death of Ultimate Spider-Man. Still trying to figure out why Quesada is getting the DM cover. He didn't work on. Also, Hickman Ultimates is the one I want the most. Daredevil by Brubaker 2, 2099 and 2099. That's solid. And can we add the Danny Ketch mini to Ghost Rider? That was the one by Daniel Way, right? That's the one you're thinking of? I mean, I can ask, but being that it's solicited makes it a little harder. Wolverine 5 with the Churchill cover. Aaron Ghost Rider pairs well with Iron Fist. Garcenis did. He did
and a medium rare steak. Yeah.
That's only Marvel Masterworks, please. Those are the Marvel Masterworks work. Those are the guys eating the steaks. And so we got a variety of things. A gallery edition of variant omnibus covers. Anyone? Swimsuit edition. Can't wait for episode 1 of Near Mint Julep starring Lars and his color Marvel Masterworks. Man, I really love the Phalanx Covenant. Those prismatic covers were awesome. There was one bar of prismatic cover, right? Like one bar.
Yeah.
They had you. Wolverine 100. Is that the one where Cyborg goes on a diet and gets skinny? Yeah. Yes. I think Danny Ketch was Cy Spurrier. Really? I thought Danny Ketch was done by Daniel Way, but cool. Cy Spurrier did the Danny Ketch Attic miniseries. That's it. Wolverine 5 and Hickman Ultimates. What's the difference between the Ultimates Omni by Miller and the Ultimate Marvel Omni by Hickman? Who hasn't spoken? Who has like? I think we all have an answer, but
two completely different stories.
Writer.
Well, yeah. The writer and the artist. Yeah.
It goes
now.
Miller's Ultimates Omnibus. If you have that, then there's an Ultimates 3, which not a lot of people talk about. There's a reason for that. Ultimatum, and then there is the return of Mark Miller in Ultimate Comics. What's it? Ultimate Avengers, and then this right here. So it's a little bit of a gap in between the Mark Miller Ultimates and the Jonathan Hickman. It's a different series, different characters.
And it ties into Hickman's starting with Secret Warriors, ending with Secret Wars complete run through. It ties into that. The ultimate Hickman Ultimates.
Yeah.
Is this part and parcel of when they rebranded as like Ultimate Comics as well, or is that separate to that? Yeah. They did a late in the game rebranding exercise too.
Oh, you're asking if it's a continuation? It is a continuation of the Ultimate version of the Ultimates. Gosh, that sounds so redundant, but that's what they call themselves. It's not a dumb question. Trust me, Joe. We've all been there, and it gets confusing whenever they rebrand titles and whenever they relaunch a title. So
it is the start of a new story, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's also in the same universe.
Right.
Secret Wars hadn't happened yet when they were like, okay, no more Ultimate Universe.
We've all been there in those dark, lonely nights trying to figure this sort of thing out. Yeah.
It's my specialty.
Which issue of Wolverine did he go to the dentist for a new set of teeth?
Oh.
I can't tell you that, but I can tell you when he started cutting people's hair. And I wish I could make that up. But that's okay. The writer of that and I bonded over an interview behind the scenes how much he hated that run. Omar, any word of the Epic reprint announcement? And do you know what happened to What If? Oh, there are 3 books that people have been asking me about. What If Volume 2, the 90s era, and the Spider-Man by Joe Kelly, and Extreme X-Men 2. I'm going to send an email today asking, but those haven't been canceled. I think they've just been moved.
Well, because when you said Spider-Man 2099 got bumped by 6 months, Spider-Man 2099 Volume 1 got bumped by 6 months. So, there's a precedent.
Yeah. I did put up on our social media, we put out the new calendar of release dates. So hopefully there won't be any more bumps. I mean, wow, August is a lot of books. There's a lot of Masterworks, a lot of Omnis, a lot of Epics. It's not Omni-geddon like last year, because that's what they're trying to keep from happening, right?
Yeah.
Where there were 10, oh my gosh, I mean, 10 Omnis in 1 week. Like,
One week, wow.
Marvel
Really?
Masterworks. Oh my
Really?
gosh, yes. Yeah, it was in January. Was it in
It
January?
happened a couple times.
Yeah, it happened a couple times because they were trying to catch up. Like the docs were like, "Hey, we have all these things. We need to get out of here." So the distributors were like, "Hey, we have all these books. Guess what, retailers? Sorry." So that's not a good thing to happen, right? When you have $100 to $150 books, and people have to make decisions. Even the snooty single color Marvel Masterworks folks were sitting going, I don't know about this. This is a lot of books in 1 week. So that's what they're trying to keep from happening again by scattering things about. So, Omar, could you tell Marvel to be careful with the scans of Wolverine 5? About what Curtis said. Yes, I can only relay the message, though. What they decide to do is, up to them. When is the Essential line coming back?
I buy every one.
I think that I did a poll a couple of years ago on bringing what's your favorite line, and the Essential, for some reason, I've never seen this on a poll, got like -10 votes. I've never seen that. Like, I didn't even know you could do that on a poll. Late or not, as long as I get my Spidey 2099 Volume 2, I'll be happy.
Fun fact, by the way, that and this
I've heard their fun facts before. They're not that fun.
I have too.
Well, of course, the Essentials were black and white, and let's face it, they were printed in an era where just they need to be printing in black and white. But I always found that when I read black and white, it didn't stick in my mind as much as reading color. And lo and behold, I checked. That's actual science.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Reading color pages, it ingrains in your head stronger than reading black and white. So I don't want to read the Essentials anyway because I won't remember them as much.
Well, the entire country of Japan wants a word with you, sir.
Right. Well,
there's no color alternative in Japan, so there's nothing to compare.
No.
Thank you for that, Chris. I appreciate you stating that. But in all seriousness, though, that's true. Like color, huh? Like you're saying, black and white doesn't stick with you. Like black and white stories, even though they were printed originally in black and white, maybe don't stick with you.
Reading black and white doesn't. Your brain doesn't process it as strongly as it processes color. Therefore, you don't remember it as strongly.
Really?
Yeah. Now, of course, a lot of the Essentials were, stuff that wasn't printed in black and white anyway. So, if it was printed in color, I prefer to have it in color. Now, occasionally, like with the old Judge magazine,
or
sure. There's always exceptions.
Originally came out in color, like or Independence of Cerebus and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Strangers in Paradise.
Sure. Yeah. No. Some stuff.
But the argument is not that they're not good. It's that your actual brain does not absorb black and white information in the same way that absorbs information in color.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, occasionally
we don't love the comics. Just means they might have stuck in our heads better.
Occasionally, like the old Doctor Who magazine comics were like Dave Gibbons was done in black and white, and so then I'm kind of like, well, if he was drawing it for black and white, then maybe I want the line art or to see the line art in black and white, and also some of the attempts to color it have been kind of weird. But if
you think people have an easier time remembering comics than novels then? Like, is there any kind of study on that?
That I don't know. Peter, you've heard about this thing. Okay, I'm not completely having a stroke and just making it up. It's real.
Is the thing. Once upon a time when I was in print production, these were the kind of things you needed to know to be able to tell clients about, at the time before every website had a dark mode, it was like, stop reversing out the text, make sure there's some actual color. Like these are the things that are going to improve readability. Now readability is, what your Yoast plugin tells you about your blog. But at the time you had to know all this stuff to know what to recommend for layout. And I know Lars lived in that world too for many years.
Certainly old Marvel stuff that was in color. I'd rather have it in color.
Okay, I see what you're saying. No, and it makes sense. I just didn't even know there was a study. Like, how do you even volunteer to be in that study?
Well, and then someone's asking about in text versus comics. That I'm not sure. I mean, obviously you remember novels, but again, I think it is also a matter of science that like somehow reading a novel in print tends to ingrain in your head better than reading it on a screen. And I only know from my own experiences, sometimes when I'm reading on my iPad, with novels, I do have a slight tendency to go, flip, flip, flip.
Well,
And
there's a
somehow
tactile
when the book
element.
is in front of me, I actually stop to read the page. I don't know why.
Lars is actually a plant to make sure you all get as many books from the catalog as possible.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Because
Plant.
science.
Well, there goes It's a Wonderful Life. Casablanca.
Yeah.
No more Hitchcock films. Boy, they're gonna.
Oh my
take
gosh,
it.
this is
Yeah,
not
run
the
with it. Look
conversation
what
we're
you
having.
did. Look
Well,
what
there's a
you
colorized
did.
version of It's a Wonderful Life. There you go.
Why would you watch
You can
that?
all enjoy it and remember it.
Well, of course, I don't remember any of 1960s Doctor Who, even though I've seen it probably 15 times. So yeah.
Well, a lot of it was burned, right? Like,
Well, yeah. Number one, I've not seen the video if it doesn't exist anymore. But also, yeah, it's black and white. Although they're talking about colorizing some of it. So
Mars is sponsored by Big Paper.
it's true. It's true.
That's
Yeah.
actually
Hey,
what we
Photoshop
call him in the
Hardy,
chat
buddy.
behind the scenes. It's like, hey, Big Paper's here.
With only text, you paint the picture.
That damn
yourself.
Big Paper lobby. Yeah.
With printed pages, you absorb what you see.
Mhm.
Is that why? I wonder if that's why music videos were such a taboo at first, right? Like people were against them. They're like, no, I like to make up my own stories in my head about music. I don't need music videos. And I mean, I was around at the time, but I didn't experience it, right? So I don't know what everybody else was thinking. Like,
So
when music videos came out.
someone's saying in the chat, Lars found the missing episodes of Doctor Who, then burned them. That's right. I found all missing 97 episodes and then just thought, well, they'll have more mystique if I just destroy them and nobody sees them. So yeah.
That's it. I know which version. Honestly, the color version of Bone is really solid. Like and Bone wasn't one that I think I held near and dear to my heart. Like TMNT, I have to have in black and white, even though they did the Perfect Works, the Color Works collections. But it was just the stuff that I remember reading. Like, whereas Bone, I didn't come into it until I was a lot older and it had been out for a few years. And I read it in black and white, but I think I appreciated the colors a little bit more. Omar, music videos, now you sound like old Jess. I'm not saying I'm going around in my Model T listening to vinyl records with my lady on a Sunday evening. Just remember that was a big deal back then. There goes half of Oppenheimer. Wait, half of it is in I haven't seen it. I'm gonna go see it tonight, I think.
Spoilers.
That's why dogs
Barbie dies. No, I haven't seen Barbie. That was a joke. I have no idea.
That's why dogs don't remember anything they read. Thank you for that, JV. I appreciate
Spoiler,
it.
nuclear bombs go off. Yeah.
Would Berserk be too graphic in full color? I mean, there are color pages of Berserk that even Dark Horse didn't bring over, because I think that at the time they thought it would increase the price about $10 more. So each volume would be $59.99 instead of $49.99. So no, I don't think so. No, absolutely not. No. I don't. Oh my gosh, no. The imagery of that, it wouldn't take anything away. It wouldn't really add anything. How many Omnis would complete the Bendis Avengers era? If you want the whole thing, we do a Map My Avengers right now live. Me and these guys. I know Curtis has thought about this all the time. He thinks about Omnis. He doesn't stop.
I know, it's true. In the car, in the shower, everywhere. Just, you know.
I want to say
While he's listening to his kids' recital, I mean,
for new Avengers, they could. Oh wait, you want Mighty Avengers, Dark Avengers, and then Avengers, New Avengers, Volume 2. Ooh, that gets a little hard. I want to say maybe one, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 for the whole era, depending on what you want to include in there. What do you think, Peter? I know you thought about this stuff.
I mean, it's just they don't actually integrate very well, even when he's writing both New Avengers and Mighty Avengers.
Yeah.
It's not like a smooth shuffling of issues the way that Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers are. So I just think they're separate books. I think there's 2 omnibuses of New Avengers, 3 if you insist on cramming a bunch of Secret Invasion in it. There's 1 to 2 omnibuses of Mighty Avengers, 1 you would hope, but then you got to have the slot stuff in it too. Dark Avengers is its own thing. And then there's the new Avengers and Avengers twin runs that started in 2010, which are both like 34 issues each, and they would probably each need an omnibus as well. But those do integrate a little bit better. So maybe that would be its own like shuffled two omnibus.
Bendis was on it that long. I want to say he was on for like 10 years.
And I actually have a Bendis specific reading guide somewhere in the bowels of crushingcrisis.com that puts every one of those issues in order. That was a lot of fun to actually work out.
And I was including Dan Slott and Christos Gage, Mighty Avengers, in my mapping too.
And then there's Avengers,
you know,
Initiative too, which was off to the side, but like things happened there too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I went down the Bendis Marvel rabbit hole. It was not cheap, and I know how to find a bargain. Does Wolverine have the small spine? No. Wolverine isn't a Bronze or Silver Age book.
So it's graphic title on the spine.
Yeah, it's big. And even the reprint of Volume 2 had the bigger spine. So I assume whenever they reprint Volume 1, they'll have the big spine. 2004, 2012, so almost 10 years. It's 8 years, huh?
Okay.
Collecting Bendis' Avengers without the events will do more harm than good. Yeah, you're going to confuse people like Curtis. He's going to be like, what is this stuff? What's happening? Why are we having
Curtis
Civil
gets
War?
those modern epics, he's going to be in trouble.
He's going to be like, what happened in Civil War? Just watch
True. It's so true.
It's a mystery. Yeah.
What's this about?
What happened to the Death of Spider-Man?
Secret Invasion, Siege. I think Siege might be included. Maybe. I don't know. Wait, Marvel older readers.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that.
What's that?
I didn't know that the what silver and bronze get the smaller font size on the spine.
Every reprint they've done and every new book they've done from that era has had the small spine.
Okay.
I assume eventually everything will be replaced. Like Uncanny X-Men 6 will also have the small spine, even though we're going to get into like the 90s.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's to annoy people with
a bronze
cataract.
line still. Yeah.
Still need X-Men Bendis as an omnibus. Do we?
That was my gateway.
I have the OHCs, so I'm set on that. But
Same.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I'd buy them up. Hell yes. I love the artwork in that era. Chris Bachalo.
what everyone's feelings about the story, the artwork is sensational in many parts.
Frazier on that second arc of Uncanny X-Men. On all new.
And I hope they map it with like Black Vortex, right? Because that book has only been collected in oversized hardcover. So it's definitely not my favorite, but it's what got Jess reading X-Men.
Actually, that's wrong. New X-Men is what got me reading X-Men. I apologize.
That's okay. You get two.
That's
lies all the time.
That was one.
It's just a mistake.
If any of you can you please tell DC to release an epic line for each character post Chris? Yes, I can. Whether they listen or not, it's up to DC, honestly. As long as you don't read New Warriors X. What's New Warriors X?
I think
Did they come out with a new title? Is that the one with Safe Space?
They're all going to die and be reborn as mutants, actually.
Oh, yeah. Hey, easy there. Easy. Who didn't see that one coming? Should event books have the tie-ins in reading order instead of having them in the back of the book? Oh, then you're just asking somebody to do a lot of work. Like, you would have to hire somebody specifically to like put all that stuff together.
Isn't that you?
No, I'm like, dude. Even that's actually Peter. That's actually crushing prices.
You don't need to hire anybody because it's all available online at Peter's website. You can just grab all that information.
I mean, look, this is the constant battle in any of these books that have a lot of tie-ins, right? There's three possible ways to do it. There's one way where everything's just ganged up on its own and it's not in reading order at all. And some people like it because you can find all the issues you want, and some people hate it because it's a bad reading experience. Then there's like the Infinity Crusade Omnibus, where it's got the whole thing in the beginning that's the main thing, and then everything else after it in reading order, but they're like separated. I actually like that because sometimes I just want to read the main thing. And then there's the like fully integrated reading order, but then some people don't like that because they're like, what? When am I going to get to issue 3 of this miniseries? I've read 48 tie-ins. So it's like there's no way to please everybody. I personally think the middle way is the way to make the most people happy.
That's why we get along, Peter, because I think the same thing. I don't want everything in between issues because Flashpoint is one of the worst mapped omnis I have because there's 17 issues in between issues 2 and 3 of Flashpoint.
Yeah, it's
I don't give a crap what Aquaman's doing in Atlantis. I want
I want the option. I want the option to care.
What about Canterbury Cricket? Didn't you? Didn't you enjoy Canterbury Cricket right there in the middle of Flashpoint?
I don't remember. I really don't remember. But but I also don't want like big books like King in Black to miss out on some good stories that could have helped or expand on what's going on. What is Peter Parker doing? Issues with Spider-Man should have been in between.
Right, because those Spider-Man issues were really kind of like the B-side of each of the event issues at one point. And it's kind of like there's no one hard and fast rule. There are some events where there is one title that is integrated so tightly into the event that it should be in the front matter integrated with the event. But then it's like, do you need like this random kind of like Red Skies issue of something really like, oh, a symbiote, does that add anything to have that in the reading order integrated?
See, I think like it gets difficult, right? It's hard to please everybody, like Peter said. I think the perfect mapped omnibus is still Infinite Crisis. That to me is like somebody put a lot of thought, a lot of effort, and a lot of love into that book because it perfectly places issues, not every issue, like during the event. But when you get to AVX, this becomes difficult because if you read Avengers versus X-Men and then you go read the fight between Scarlet Witch and Rogue, that isn't even in the same place that they're talking about because they're different creators, right? We're talking about different writers at the time, different artists working on the book. It just becomes a mess, and you're going to be so confused reading those in between. Wolverine and the X-Men was doing their own thing. Didn't affect the story at all. So adding issues like that wouldn't have really helped out the book. But I do see your point. I think there are some omnis out there that I think could benefit from these expanded storylines elsewhere.
I think it just
depends. At least give us a table of context that's like indexed. I mean, like these websites exist. These people exist. Just like freaking say what the actual reading order is if you're not gonna, but
Oh my god, no, then that pisses me off even more, Peter, because we did that. They did that with Spider-Verse, remember?
I remember Spider-Verse. I had to go through with my own set of sticky notes to put it in order. It did not explain it.
I think the omnibus, by the way, the omnibus of Spider-Verse and Spider-Geddon is freaking mapped perfect.
Yeah, it is. I think it just depends on the nature of the beast because, like, Spider-Verse, there were so many moving parts. You do want it in that seamless order. Crisis on Infinite Earths, I don't think would benefit if you want to read the main series. And if you took the main series and shoved in there all the tie-ins, it would just bloat it beyond reason. And frankly, a lot of the tie-ins kind of suck. So, I want that spine of Crisis and then keep the tie-ins over here. It just depends on the flavor of the crossover.
Yeah. And sometimes it could even ruin a reading experience if you have too much or not enough, right? Like Curtis was talking about his journey in a mystery journey that was not that great because it was missing fear itself.
It was thematic.
And the thing is,
it's what it wouldn't said on the cover.
Yeah. It wouldn't have made any sense to put Fear itself in this epic collection either because Loki doesn't play into that series at all. It would have answered my questions about the serpent, but it wouldn't have made sense to put Fear itself and then an issue of Loki and then issue 2 of Fear itself and an issue of Loki. Like that wouldn't have made sense either.
No. And sometimes when you're shifting gears with creators and so on, frankly, and I'm about to commit heresy yet again. This is why I struggle with Age of Apocalypse, because even though it is very good, the shifting of this creator team to that creative team to that creative team, it's too jarring. So I prefer approaches where like Crisis, where you can just stick with that same creative team if possible.
We're going to take just one more question because I know I'm keeping my friends here longer than they should be. Did you see the San Diego Comic-Con new X-Men with the Age of Apocalypse font announced? What do you guys think about this? Sure. Let's have some fun. Bring back the Age of Apocalypse. Is it an anniversary yet? 15. Oh my God, 20.
Oh God,
30 years. Yeah,
30
well,
years.
horrifying, horrifying. It is an anniversary. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, Big Blue Daddy's coming back. There's that spectacular Mark Brooks cover of Immortal X-Men that's going around. So like, is our Big Blue Daddy A gonna have an X-Men team? Quite possibly. It's that gun was placed on the mantle in the first act back at the end of X of Swords. So, Fall of X, those things are gonna start happening.
Epic Collection reprints announcements. We just did some right before I went to Japan, right? I think we covered all the way to July of next year. Is that right, Curtis?
Yep, I think so. We won't be doing more announcements for a few months now.
Yeah, just give us a little time and we'll bring them back. My friend, they are my friends. Marvel Spines look like they were kindergarten children.
Don't understand that comment.
I will say this, as unhappy as people are with some of the spines, you become a collector long enough that you just end up saying screw it. Like my battle with spines was over 20 years ago when Dark Horse and Viz Comics, if you're a fan of manga at all, started changing their logo mid-series and then went back to the old logos, and I'm like, well, at least I have the books. So it's something I got over, and I don't know. Everybody's different though. I understand that, not everybody's happy and there were a lot of people upset, but that ship has sailed.
What I think you're saying is you become a fan long enough, your heart will be broken, and your will to fight on or indeed live will be gone.
In 10 years' time, when they redo a bunch of these things, not everything stays the same. I mean, you got to look at it from a business perspective, and it makes sense. Like, they want people to rebuy everything to align together. And I mean, it's not like DC's any better at keeping things in content. Like my House of Secrets volumes 1 and 2 are beautiful. And then when we get to volume 3, they were like, it's not that it's not beautiful. They were like, let's just change the whole design of the book. Like nobody's going to care. But,
who's paying attention?
I stopped fighting that battle decades ago. It's just something you get used to. Comic fans being unhappy or picky. It's what we do. It's what we do, my brother. But that's it. Where can people find you all when you're not hanging out with me, by the way? Let's start from up here.
Dog's Vault on YouTube. Thank you for having me on this. This is actually the highlight of my month. I love this show. And Omnidogs_Vault on Instagram, where I post once every 12 weeks. If that.
Is it exactly every 12 weeks? Not 11 or 13. It's 12.
Yeah. And some of my viewers created a Discord channel for me too, and I don't even know how to get in there.
God, that was me 2 years ago. I'm like, I don't know how to get in. I still don't know Discord that much. What about you, Curtis? What do you do? What do you do?
What do? I do a whole lot. I'm at epicmarvelpodcast.com, and I work for the Library of American Comics and Clover Press. So we have a lot of cool books coming out, including some Marvel art books.
When's the next For Better or For Worse coming out?
Volume 7 is out in late September, and I saw that the Amazon listing for Volume 8 just went up the other day. And just got texted some pictures from the publisher of Clover Press, Hank Cannells, and he's
great guy.
Sent me pictures of Dick Tracy Volume 1 and 2. They're printed and they'll be in stores pretty soon.
Very nice.
Good.
Yeah. Congratulations on seeing that one through the end. I know it wasn't easy.
I need to clarify this right now. Omar just admitted they are doing it on purpose, so we double dip. I don't know if you're joking or not. If you're joking, I do need to use this as an example. It's okay. No, I'm not. I do not speak for Marvel. I don't work at Marvel. I'm just saying you got to look at it from the perspective of a business. I'm talking about in general. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I don't need this to be shown on any forums or Reddit. And if you're joking, that's cool. Yeah, right. But I'm just using it as an example because people take things that I say out of context. And holy crap, the ridiculousness that I've been shared that happened on Reddit and in forums years ago. Anyway.
Well, don't worry, Omar. The internet is known for its great restraint. I'm sure that, nothing will be taken out of context.
And thank you for clarifying that you were joking, by the way. But I do have to use that because people will see that and then they'll be like, oh my God, this is exactly what we were talking about.
The truth comes out.
Yeah.
It's already up on my Discord.
Your Discord that you don't even go into. Nice. Well done. Lars, where can people find you, buddy?
I'm at madnorwegian.com, and the one of the Doctor Who guidebooks we publish, About Time 4, 2nd edition, Volume 2. The official release date is next Wednesday, I think. So it's already available off the Mad Norwegian website and from Forbidden Planet. But if you're into the Tom Baker years, this is a breathtaking exploration of the Tom Baker years of Doctor Who.
Love it. What about you, Peter? Where can people find you, buddy?
My eternal home on the internet is Crushing Crisis, crushing with a C, crisis with a K, crushingcrisis.com. And I'm actually in my winter hibernation here down in the Southern Hemisphere. And I emerged from my crypt especially to do this show today. So don't expect to see anything new. I'm not doing my daily posting right now. I'm going to just sink backwards as soon as we turn off the broadcast.
Well, it really means a lot that you came on. Honestly, that means a lot.
Well, I would not miss you or my other friends here. As snarky as I may be, it's because I'm on my 25th hour of my day here in New Zealand. But I love being here with you and all the Minties.
But hours are different there, right? I mean, that's
it's different. They measure different
minutes. Yeah,
they're living in the future. And thank you all so much for watching. Smash that like button on the way out. I'm here every day. I'm working on a video for tomorrow. And check out cheapgraphicnovels.com. They have books up for pre-order and books for sale as of right now. They have a Nick and Dent sale going on. So hit them up for that. That's it for me and the rest of us. Everyone stay healthy and safe. Much love.